Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving our praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rucha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and to the apostles of Caribbean Stone, and then our respected brothers out there pushing and spreading the gospel of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai to the four of the world. Now, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, I just want us to do a quick lesson in the book of Micah, the 6th chapter. Lord willing, this be edifying. Verse 1 says, Hear ye now what the Lord Yahweh saith. Arise, contend thou before the mountains, and let the hills hear thy voice. And so the Most High has issued a challenge to the nation of Israel. Verse 2 says, Hear ye, O mountains, the Lord's controversy, and ye strong foundations of the earth. So the challenge is for the nation of Israel to come before, to make its claim or complaints, right, before with nature as a witness against the Lord. So it says, Hear ye, O mountains, the Lord's controversy, and ye strong foundations of the earth. For the Lord Yahweh has a controversy with his people, and he will plead with Israel. So let nature be a witness to this feud between us and the Lord. Verse 3 says, O my people, what have I done unto thee? And wherein have I wearied thee? Testify against me. For I brought thee up out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed thee out of the house of servants. And I set before thee Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. Yep, this was the household that was over the nation of Israel. Right? You had Moses, the prophet king. You had Aaron, the priest, right, the high priest, and you had Miriam, who was over the women. Right? The scripture tells you that when we left out of Egypt, you had Miriam leading the women, right, in music, in the songs that were being sung. Verse 5 says, O my people, remember now what Balak, king of Moab, consulted, and what Balaam, the son of Beor, answered him from Shittim unto Gilgal, that ye may know the righteousness of the Lord Yahweh. So you can read of this account in verse 5 in the book of Numbers, if I'm not mistaken, the 22nd chapter. All right. Yep. Numbers, the 22nd chapter. You can read that account. May even have to do a video on it next time. But all these things has the Lord done for us. And when we look back, it's all righteousness, right? That ye may know the righteousness of the Lord Yahweh. And so what possible problem can we have with him to the point where we keep pissing him off? It says, Wherewith shall I come before the Lord Yahweh, and bow myself before the high God? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves of a year old? Will the Lord Yahweh be pleased with thousands of rams, or with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the first fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has showed thee, O man, what is good. And what doth the Lord Yahweh require of thee but to do justly, and to love mercy, and walk humbly with thy God? And so the problem has not been figured out. It's foolishness, right? Stupidity. Men don't really know how to move, before Yahweh Bashim Yashai. They think wicked Jakes, in fact, they think that, their relationship they have with the Lord is simple, is that they have the rituals, the sacrificial rituals that cleanses, that the burnt offerings, right, the sin offerings, is a loophole for them to do whatever it is that they want to do, that they feel like doing. Any wickedness that comes to their mind, they use the burnt offering, the sin offering, as a loophole, right, as a means to what? To justify what they're doing, and then turn right back around and send a ram in and say, oh, my sins are forgiven. And so that's what the Lord is seeing in these wicked Israelites out there. And he's saying, look, man, this is not what I take pleasure in, right? The reason I brought you here isn't so you can just keep bringing me freaking rams or even your firstborn for a transgression, which the Lord does not accept human sacrifices. It was just a hyperbole. But the Lord didn't bring us, didn't set us up as a nation so we could keep sinning and keep asking for forgiveness, right? All he requires of us is to just obey, stay in the path of righteousness, be disciplined. and do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. Verse 9 says, the Lord's voice crieth unto the city, and the man of wisdom shall see thy name. Right? The Lord's voice crieth unto the city through his prophets, right? Which is another precept for how the men of the Lord have to go out there in the highways and the byways. And it says, a man of wisdom shall see thy name. When you go into the word see, it's not looking at the Lord's name on a paper, but it means to what? To fear. As you can see, let me go back so you can see that I'm actually clicking on it. So here's the word see. All right, we click on it, and bang, it means to fear, to revere, to be afraid, right? To stand in awe of, to honor, right? To respect, to be dreadful, all right? To what? To terrify. Let the name of the Lord terrify you into doing what is right. A wise man, when he hears a warning from Yahweh Shemir Shah, he takes heed and he inquires. And his wisdom is made even much more perfect. And that's why the wisdom of Solomon talks about what? To know wisdom is to be aligned with immortality. Let me get it right now. Wisdom, immortality. Spend 2 seconds. See if I can find it. Modify search, Apocrypha. And boom. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 17. It says, now when I consider these things in myself and ponder them in my heart, how to be aligned unto wisdom is immortality. All right? So, let's not get carried away. So this is why the wisdom, a man full of wisdom, ultimately receives salvation, because he fears the name of the Lord. Because he inquires of the scriptures. When he hears, right, of any kind of warning as to whether or as to how he's going off, he will say, well, hold on, let me examine what's going on here. Search through the scriptures, right? And if he's going off, he amends his way. That's why it says, hear ye the rod, and who has appointed it. Now, some different translations, because the word rod translates into like a branch. Some translations say that this means a tribe. Some translations simply means this as a judgment. But either way, the point, as you're going to see, is the same, right? It's to fear the Lord, because the Lord is capable of what? Of bringing judgment upon our nation. So, right, so this, it says, fear the Lord if you are wise. His voice calls to everyone in Jerusalem. The armies of destruction are coming. That will be the rod. The Lord Yahweh is sending them. That will be what? They appointed it, right? Some translations will say he that has appointed the time. And so the armies of destruction, the Lord bringing in judgment, he has sent them. Another translation here is, let's see. Right here, the voice of the Lord Yahweh will call to the city, and it is sound wisdom to fear your name. Hear you tribe, who has designated its time meaning its judgment, right? Let's go into that. Appointed it. To fix, to set, to designate, to assemble by appointment. But there's a point in here. As a punishment, right? To set a time of punishment. Let's see the full entry. There it is. To appoint anyone to meet at a certain time or place, specially for judgment, to summon to court, to call on, to plead, right? And this goes extremely well with the very first, the second verse. The Lord shall plead with us. So the appointed meaning we have been appointed for judgment. And like I said, however, um, angle you look at this from, the point here is pretty much the same, right? The Lord is what is crying out through his men, the prophets, and a wise man will take heed. A wise man, because a wise man fears his name. Verse 10, it says, "Are there yet the treasures of wickedness in the house of the wicked?" Right? "And the scant measure that is abominable." So there are still wicked men out there who are conning people, right? Who are gaining riches through deceit and lies. Because the word scant measure means less than it ought to be. Let's look at it, different translations first. What about the disgusting practice of measuring out grain with dishonest measures? Yep, that's it. So let's look at the word. A lean ephah, less than it ought to be. All right, so now we get the point. So, but again, verse 9, "Hear ye the rod, hear, O tribes, who have been summoned to judgment," right? Or hear the judgment of the Lord, right? And who has appointed it, right? "And are there yet treasures of wickedness in the house of the wicked, and a scant measure that is abominable? Shall I count them pure with the wicked balances, and with the bag of deceitful weights?" Because the Lord is just sick and tired of Jake just keep committing wickedness and expecting the Lord to what? To look the other way. "For the rich men thereof are full of violence, and the inhabitants thereof have spoken lies, and their tongue is deceitful in their mouth. Therefore also will I make thee sick in smiting thee, in making thee desolate because of thy sins. Thou shalt eat, but not be satisfied, and thy casting down shall be in the midst of thee. And thou shalt take hold, but shalt not deliver. And that which thou deliverest will I give to the sword." So the Lord is going to what? He was going to make Jake destitute. Everything that we work hard, right? Anything that we take hold of, any harvest that we store up, it's going to be what? It's not going to be to our benefit. Now let's look at that in a different translation. Micah 6:14. NLT said, "You will eat but never have enough. Your hunger pangs and emptiness will remain." The word pangs means sharp pains, and emptiness will remain. So when you're hungry, you see that sharp pains that happens in your stomach, that is a judgment of the Lord. "And though you try to save your money, it will come to nothing in the end. You will save a little, but I will give it to those who conquer you." Right? This part says money, but sometimes it talks about I guess money will be the perfect thing. So the riches and the glory of Jake, the Lord was going to give over to another nation. And that's when he brought in all these nations out there. And look at us. We have never been the same ever since. Verse 15, it says, "Thou shalt sow, but thou shalt not reap. Thou shalt tread the olives, but thou shalt not anoint thee with oil, and sweet wine, but thou shalt not drink wine." So we will work for the benefit of other people. That's why we are in the condition that we're in right now. All the money that's been going on, that's been funding these wicked elites, right? And even these Edomites and government officials, or even these regular ass Edomites out there that look down upon you, all the things, the benefits that they're getting, it's all from the what? It's all from the hard work of Jake. It's all Jake's land, Jake's blood, Jake's sweat. But we don't benefit from it. Our children don't benefit from it. And then when they make fat from off of us, they turn around and give us handouts. Verse 16 says, "For the statutes of Omri are kept, and the works of Ahab, and ye walk in their counsel, because we have continued in wicked counsel," man. And Ahab was a wicked king. It says, "That I should make thee a desolation, and the inhabitants thereof an hissing. Therefore ye shall bear the reproach of my people," right? It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward chapter. You keep only the laws of evil King Omri. You follow only the example of wicked King Ahab. Therefore I will make an example of you, bringing you to complete ruin, and you will be treated with contempt and mocked by all who see you. So, with that, I'm going to enter right there. Shalom. Yahweh Bashim Yashar Brakatham Choi Akim Sanakov to listening in truth and sincerity. May the blessing be upon our house. In closing, we want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Recha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.